Good morning, everybody. It is Wednesday, April 20th, 5:52 a.m. Central Time as I speak here. July corn futures down 2.5 at 797.5. December corn down 6.5 cents at 740.5. July soybeans up 3.25 at 16.95. November beans down 2.25 at 15.18 last trade. July Chicago wheat down 5.25 at 11.03 3/4. July Kansas City wheat up 4 3/4 at 11.81. July spring wheat is down 2 3/4 at 11.69.5. If you guys are listening on the podcast, appreciate it. If you are watching on YouTube, make sure you hit that subscribe button. We are less than 200 subscribers away from my long-standing goal of 5,000 subscribers. If you need some additional assistance from me, guys, go to my website. It is www.standardgrain.com. Check out my premium subscription service. I send a ton of information to my premium subscribers every single business day. My morning email goes out before 6 a.m. Central. It includes all of my grain marketing recommendations, every overnight headline you need to be aware of, tons of interesting charts, weather info. My daily subscriber-only videos are part of this. I do a new one every single business day. Yesterday's subscriber-only video was kind of a visualization of some of the recent option recommendations that I've sent my customers. Whenever I do any sort of grain marketing recommendation, I always do a thorough explanation in these videos. And yesterday, I did kind of a visualization of some of the option strategies that I've recommended here as of late. So if you guys are interested in this sort of deal, give that premium subscription a shot. It's $50 a month, no other fee, no other obligation. Nobody will try to sell you anything else. We've got some more rain headed for the U.S. Corn Belt. Good chunk of Iowa, Illinois, Missouri. We'll see 2 inches of rain or more over the next 7 days, and even some of these peripheral areas we'll see up to an inch. North Dakota's got some more precip coming, same with northern Minnesota. You're going to see kind of a bout of warm temperatures occur here this weekend, but then after that, say Monday, Tuesday next week, you're going to see another cold snap. Your 6 to 10 day map offers odds of below normal temperatures again, but below normal precipitation also, and the 8 to 14 day looks kind of similar to that. So it looks like we're going to dry out here in this extended time frame in regard to temperature, still on the cool side. So are you going to see some planting delays here and there? Yeah. Is it a big deal? Is that why the market's rallied? I don't know. It's tough to say. I'm not going to say that it's not a supportive factor, because I think that it is. According to a lot of studies and data that I've seen, in a state like Illinois, for example, if corn is planted, say, past the first week in May, in a lot of situations, your potential for optimal yields kind of declines. So in a normal year, if we were not in a real tight or sensitive supply and demand situation, I'm not sure that the market or traders would be interested in this sort of deal just yet. But in a year like this, where you've got tight balance sheets, we don't really have room to tolerate less than a trend yield, according to a lot of the balance sheet work that I've seen. The market is sensitive to this. So I think it's a supportive factor, the fact that you're going to see some corn planted late. It's not the only factor. I think that there are bigger factors. I think that the Ukraine thing, I think the general speculative interest in commodities is a bigger factor. But this is supportive, but maybe some light at the end of the tunnel here when you look at a drier extended forecast, despite the fact that temperatures will be a little bit below normal. We've got a weather story in Brazil also. Warm and dry weather may impact Brazil's second corn crop. To this point, USDA, most traders, they've been working with the idea that Brazil would produce a record corn crop. That second and larger crop, it's in good shape, but they do have a warm and dry forecast for the remainder of April, and it could trim yields a little bit. One analyst in Brazil said this: the second crop really has the potential to reach a record. Even with below average rains for the next 30 days, we would still harvest a great crop. So normal seasonal weather patterns in Brazil, they sometimes turn drier around this time of year or into the summer. Some of the crop is entering its early reproductive stages. So I still think you've probably got all the potential in the world for a record crop, but this forecast is something to be monitored, certainly. U.S. exporters sold more old crop soybeans yesterday. USDA reported a flash sale of about 4.5 million bushels of U.S. soybeans to unknown destinations for delivery during the old crop marketing year. You've got real strong demand for soybeans still. Export sales, flash sales, pretty frequently. We saw a strong crush number from NOPA last week, so demand for U.S. beans remains pretty stout here. Ukraine's ability to store grain is likely insufficient. The United Nations World Food Program said yesterday that the storage Storage will become an issue as the country struggles to export existing stocks amid the invasion. The World Food Programme's emergency coordinator in Ukraine estimates that 20% of planted areas in Ukraine will not be harvested in July. I'm assuming he's talking about wheat. And that spring planting areas will be about a third smaller than usual. We've seen a lot of different estimates regarding what percentage of this spring acreage will be planted. He's saying a third less. I think the Ukrainian ag minister said only 17% less just earlier this week or last week. This was a quote from that World Food Program official. The minister told us last week that the main concern at this stage is lack of storage capacity to bring in the 2022 grain harvest. An estimated 15 million tons of grains will not have space in the silos around the country. There's going to be some issues here. Farmers may not be able to afford to harvest this year's crop or plant next year's crop if they're not able to sell existing and forthcoming supplies. So you've got a messy situation in Ukraine that just continues to worsen, I think. The U.S. stock market rose sharply yesterday. The S&P was up 1.6%. The Dow Jones was up 499 points. That's about 1.4%. The NASDAQ was up more than 2%. Stocks have generally been under some pressure as of late, but did post a sharp recovery yesterday. Some analysts argue that sentiment positioning have become a little too bearish. Perhaps forthcoming action from the Fed has already been discounted to some extent. Some people might look at the global bond market, which has tumbled. Money is coming out of bonds at a rapid clip for the first time in decades, and this is something that I don't think is discussed nearly as much as it should be. But where is that money going? It's not going to disappear. I don't think it's going to cash. Some of it can make its way into equities. So that global bond market, credit market, debt market is something that we've got to keep an eye on, certainly. Remember, guys, May grain options expire on Friday. So if you have any remaining open positions there, make sure you take a look. Cattle market was higher in fat cattle, mixed in feeder cattle yesterday. Boxes were lower. There was some cash trade, mostly at 140, I believe. U.S. dollar is lower to sharply lower here this morning. The S&P's up 3 points. The Dow's up 70. Bonds up a little bit. Gold's off $3. Crude oil is up 85 cents at 102.90 in the June WTI contract. Everybody have a wonderful day today. I'll talk to you guys same time tomorrow.